Can you do me a favor?
This one.
Okay, you got it?
Yeah, this one.
Okay, great. Do me a favor, pass this around.
This one might work.
Yes.
Anything else?
And then I have on the side there of the laptop.
Oh.
And then
Marker? I heard like it's late. You need to be logged in this one.
Okay, are we on?
That one is on. Yep. You want chicken?
Yeah. See, tell me what you see.
Well, you can see the whole board from here.
Okay.
You can see the whole
You see
thing.
me?
Yep. Yep. And it's recording. Yeah.
Where are is there any more papers left? Yellow sheets? You, just move them around. See if we can find-
I got the textbook online with the connect, so I paid the $130. Did you pay $130? Just for this? But didn't you buy the online homework, the connect? Did you do it online? Which was $130, so I just paid $130 and got the textbook and that's fine. You could buy connect access also.
There we go.
Everyone's buying this point, I don't respond, that's expensive.
Couldn't you like,
I didn't just.
couldn't you like sway it
What time do you
I finished at 6:15. Okay, folks, welcome. Any questions so far? Everybody have a yellow sheet? Who does not have a yellow sheet? We're gonna have a quiz today. What's today's date? What's today's date? Monday? What? August 27th, 2018. What we're gonna cover today is in terms of IT collaboration. And we'll also do, we talked about in collaboration, we talked about screencasting.
No, that's not first thing. Oh, shit, okay. Everything here? No, we just did one, like, homework assignment.
And we'll
Turn it in,
talk about the schedule
we have to do, like,
and chapters
oh, it's audit, yeah, I see that.
for the first test.
Thanks, man.
And we'll have an assignment. Okay, so everybody have a sheet? Wow, I'm always surprised how crowded we are, huh? And I'm happy to see that you all come back. Okay, we have a sheet here. Who finished quizzes for chapter 1? Yes, who did not? Okay, one of the things that we need to do, who has a sheet of paper? We'll make a roll. Who has, okay, great. Roll. Today's roll is this.
Where's it, please?
Make it CTE 210, put the date on the top. For the column headings, put first, last, email, and then also put I'll do it SC for screencasting, and we'll say yes or no if you've uploaded it.
What does it say that's?
SC for screencast, yes or no. And then put yes or no. And quizzes you should have finished for today, quiz 1 under assignments. And then make yourself number 1 and the next person make themselves number 2. And pass that around as well. And we'll go over the assignments. Okay, what else? So for everyone have a sheet of paper. So what we're gonna do, if you don't pass this first quiz, I enjoyed having you. And maybe we'll see each other in another time, another place. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is I want to take this piece of paper and I want you to fold it in thirds, this way. We're gonna fold it this way. And then I'm gonna pass around a marker and we're gonna make name tags for ourselves. What's good about the name tags, remember how I said everything is gonna be class participation and you can always have one day that's a bad day? We can have one day as a bad day. So you'll put your name tag down for that day you don't want to be called on. You only have one day of the semester. This is the beginning. It'll be worse. You know what I mean? I'll take it, okay, do it third, but don't use a pencil. What you'll do is you'll use one of the markers. Let me give you a marker here. And what you'll need to do, do it in thirds. So do it in thirds, and this is the way. This is going to be complicated, folks. You can't do this. See the door. Okay, so the thing what you want to do is I'm going to mark mine. I'm going to mark here, my name here, how I want to be called in class. Have you ever heard that song, A Boy Named Sue? There was a long time ago, there was a boy named Sue. You can call yourself what you would like. I'm going to do it on one side, and I'm going to do it on both sides. So I'll have it on both sides. You wait for the marker to go around, and I'll put it right in front here that you can see. I'm going to put it on this one so you can see right here. Okay? But I'll have it, you put it in front of you for each time. This way, why do I want back and forth so people behind you can see, people in front can see? You bring it to class each time, and this way you have your name tag, okay? So, yes. Yeah, it's right over there. Folks, help each other. Remember in the class, that's one of the things I said, what do we say here? Is help each other, work with each other for it. Okay, so Madeline, it's okay. You can put your first name, last name, both together. It's nice, and either way you can. Especially when I have like a couple of Sean's and so forth. It's good to know about it. So let me do this. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to connect to the Wi-Fi. I'm just going to log in as guest. And the other thing that I want to do is I'm broadcasting with what's the program I'm broadcasting with? I'm broadcasting with YouTube Live. And a subset of that is Hangouts on Air. So let's see if it will work. So I'm going to go to my YouTube. And once I go to YouTube, I'm going to go to my, what they call Creator Studio. This is slow. We'll see how we do. So I'll go to Creator Studio and I'll try to do Hangouts and see. And then in this paste here, you see my icon here. And I have Creator Studio. I click on Creator Studio. And with Creator Studio, you see live streaming here to the left. I'm going to click on live streaming. I'm going to go to events. Thank you so much. Did it work?
Well, yeah.
Okay, we'll
Because I
work
need to
at-
talk to you after class.
Okay, so I have here, what do I have here? I have 827, 505. Let's start a hangout. Let's see what happens. Now, what am I doing here? Who can tell me? Who has a clue? What's happening? What do you think, Ben? What am I trying to do? Your name's Ben?
Yes.
Okay. So try to write a little bit bigger, Ben. It's okay. I'm getting some feedback. So. Anyway, so what can I do? Close this program. I'm sharing my screen, and I want now, what's happening now? I have a link here. And what does this link mean? Who can help Ben? I have a link here. It says YouTube VE. There's a link here. What's happening? Yes.
It's the address into the live stream.
It's the address into the live stream. So if I post this anytime throughout around the world, you can see the class broadcast live, and it'll also be archived. So for instance, Shauna, you were telling me that you had to go away for a week. Either if she can't view it, and let's say she's in Europe, let's say she's in France, right? You can't, there's time differences in 5, it's like 5 hours, 10, 15. Maybe she's doing something else, she can view it later, or if she can, at 10, 15, she can view it, and then we also can give her permission to participate. So we'll see her face, and we'll be able to, she can then contribute to the class. So you can do this, and what's the advantage to this is that you can do it anywhere in the world, that you can have this and you can collaborate and broadcast. And how much does this cost me, Shauna?
None.
It's not going to be the cost here, so I can then, now I can broadcast. So I'm broadcasting the class that I'll be able to do. And one of the things that I can then work also in groups, not only my broadcasting, in this case, I can broadcast as a private way, or I can make it open and say, listen, how many more spaces, how many more seats can we fit, Spencer, in here? Not too many, right? So basically, if we think about disrupting education, what we could see is that we could add additional students to this class all over the world. And how much would it cost for and we're all business students, so anytime we're using technology, what do I want to do? I want to think about what? Some profits, right? And so what makes up profits here is I have my revenues, and what else? And then I'm going to have my expenses, right? If we broadcast, what is the additional expense the university has to pay? And then what we're going to talk about is something, you can put this in your notes, is what we call zero marginal cost. Put this in your note, zero marginal cost. And what's my second one? Zach? Yeah, where's the marker going around? Okay. Zach, get the marker. Did you use the marker? It's hooked up. Okay, so use the marker. Ask after it's finished to use it. So what is it? Yes. Vanessa.
Marginal cost is like how much it costs to make an additional broadcast.
Or what? Basically, by doing this new system, right, of broadcasting, how much additional cost will it be? Because we're not going to make additional broadcasts because we never made a broadcast before. So I'm saying to basically disrupting the education is if we did the broadcast, what is the additional marginal cost? And why am I saying zero? Everybody understand the question? So I have two Vanessas, right? So we can do later on, we can do Vanessa. What is your last name, Vanessa? With an S or what? K. And yours?
Cat into the king.
K. Oh, wow. Isn't that great? So K1 and K2. Okay. Everybody understand my question? My question is, we have education. We're all sitting here and we can see we have one more chair left. That's it. And I want to have what? Extra speakers come in, and those speakers are going to be from around the world, so they want to have additional people here. Remember, we're going to do blockchain, cryptocurrency, we're going to do latest topics here. If they're coming in, it's going to be popular, right? So my question to you is, why do I say it's zero marginal cost? Yes, Claudine.
Because there's free programs for use as well.
First of all, how much is my YouTube costing me? What, Shanna?
0.
0, right? What else? What about, who's doing this? Who's implementing this? I'm the professor, okay? Do they pay me? Yeah, hopefully. I haven't checked my payroll, right? Even though I enjoy this. Some of you can tell, some of you maybe not. But they still pay me, right? So the question is, I still have to be paid for what? And the room here, you've already paid, right? Or somebody's paid, right? Or you got scholarships or something. This has been paid for, right? Your credit hours. So why do I say 0 marginal cost? It's still costing, right? They're paying, we got this room. We got the cost of what? Me, right? Maybe of the computers, maybe of the Wi-Fi, right? So why do I say, John, 0 marginal cost? It's basically they paid my salary already, right? You're already here. So it's 0 marginal cost to gain what? Possibly additional revenues. So let's say we had this is hypothetical, right? But if we had a really exciting class and everybody around the world said, hey, I pay $1 to see it, and we had 1 million viewers, how much would we get then? Additional, John? 1 million, right? Or 2 million or 3 million, right? Or 5 million? And then when I was talking, you remember I was talking about blockchain before? Who's ever heard about blockchain before? A couple of you. Basically what blockchain is, and we'll go into it in more detail, but it's a way for a distributed platform to basically have cut out a lot of the middle people. And then there's like tokens. So my way to look at education is the possibility, if John's available, and let's say Cody helping the class, and what's the problem of having all those viewers? If they have comments, we don't want them all speaking to us, so what could they do? Possibly chat or something? We can have some moderators, right? Moderating, as you're sitting there, right? You can moderate the questions, and you can raise your hand, John, and say, hey, this is an interesting question, or you could answer it yourself, and you would possibly get then tokens or a portion of those additional revenues that we get. So as you're sitting, my idea is as you're sitting in class, you say, hey, I'm paying all this money, right? What is it for $1? And then we can say they're not going to get a degree, but maybe after they see it, right, we could even have them maybe take the quizzes the tests at some testing center or something, or then they could actually be physical students here, and then the university could possibly even sell degrees or even micro degrees. That basically maybe even a section that we teach, for instance, on blockchain, somebody said, I want a certificate on blockchain. We can even take a portion of our course and make it a certificate. And I want you to think about, these are my ideas, I want you to start thinking about ways to disrupt areas in which you're interested in. You understand? So these are what we're doing. So we're broadcasting here, and then we're also, we talked about it before, is that we can also, let me do that, we can screencast. Remember that what I asked you to do is we could screencast. Let me just see here in Google what happens. And later on we'll do it where I can give by keywords. You see here I'll have back test 1. Basically it looks like what? Information systems. It looks like our classes, and within the classes then, let me just see here, we can even set this up where we can have the contents, we can have the captions, and then I can put in, and I'll show you later, I can put in quizzes. So for review for the test, Who wants to, it's all gonna be archived, right, Shauna? So do you wanna listen to 40 hours of a lecture again? I wouldn't. But what you could do is, for instance, if I could say like back test 1.1, see a short clip, and before I even see the clip, look at a quiz or some quiz questions, and those questions, if I got all those questions right, I don't have to listen to that section. And what I want to create is that when I'm doing those clips, that questions from the lecture could be attached to the section. And if you got it, only those questions, you almost take like a pre-taste, only those questions you got wrong, let me see videos according to those questions, rather than seeing the entire one piece. Everybody got a clue on where I'm trying to go with this? Why we're doing it? Because I'm going to have you try out a lot of technology, and some of you will say, hey, that's great, and some of you will say, why do I need this? So I want you to start thinking about why you need this. So this is the zero marginal cost of what I'm doing in terms of the recording. Questions? Okay? So where's the marker? So what do we have here? AJ, let's get a marker from the back and then make it so I can see it stronger. Okay? So let's talk about just the schedule. I want to get that out of the way. Some of you were asking, next Monday, which is what? September 3rd. There's not going to be class. It's a holiday, right? We're also having Monday, September 10th. We're also, due to some Jewish holidays, we're not going to have class. And then Wednesday, what is that, September 19th? Yeah. There's also not going to be class. So in September, some classes will meet once a week, okay? But the beauty here is we can work virtually, and we can have more time to do our projects. So write those down, that those dates, we won't have hard class in here. Yes?
This coming Monday, there's no class at all, right?
No class at all for the whole university. It's Labor Day. So the whole university. So it's September 3rd, 10th, and the 19th. Okay? So put that in your notes, but we'll do, quizzes will be online, and I'll set that up. Okay? Everybody write that down. I can close this. Okay, so I have this part. So I have these, setting these up, and I'll look later on. I'll tell you about the quizzes before we do the exam. I'll give you additional quiz questions as well. Questions? Okay, now let me go to the Blackboard.
Oh.
We have a question, comment? Okay, so I'm going to log into Blackboard. I'm going to log in with my username and ID. And notice that this was saved here, and I should have too. Is there anyone who hasn't been here before? Everybody's been here, good. So I have here a number of courses that I'm involved where I'm the instructor, and you have a number of courses that you're involved in the instructor, and you can see here BTE 210J. You'll see here under assignments, let me just here go to, I'm going to go to control panel. I think you don't have this part. You have it in the other one. You see here grade center, and then here full grade center. So you can see what I get here is you can see here people that it gets raised in here. So by you, how many times can you take it? You can take it for the first one. You can take it twice. So I suggest you take it twice. The last attempt counts. Those of you that haven't done it, I'll let you do it till Wednesday, and then it will be shut off that you can't, do it more. So these are the grade center. The assignments, quiz 1 is done here. Now I have another quiz, and it says TG1. TG1 stands for, and you can put this in your notes there, it stands for Tech Guide. Tech Guide number 1. It goes from Tech Guide number 1 through Tech Guide number 5. We'll go through a different order in the Tech Guides, but Tech Guide 1 is hardware, and Tech Guide 2 is software. So I'm going to make that available to you. I'm going to start lecturing about it on Wednesday. The quiz, since it's a short time between Monday and Wednesday, I'd rather you have a weekend to do it, the quizzes, and we don't have class on Monday. It will be due then the following Wednesday. But I want to make that available, so what do I need to make it available? So Eden, what do I need to do? Right, click the arrow, and I want to make it available, so what do I need to do? Make available, but let me edit the test options just to make sure. So I have quiz, Tech Guide 1, it's hardware, and it's opening, and I can make the test available to my student. How can I help you? I don't want any help. Okay, make it available, and let me do it just for you want 1 attempt or 2 attempts? 2, let's make it 2 attempts. The main thing I want for the quizzes for you is that you understand the concept. So we don't have to bother wasting our time in class going over the concept. You can find it out, and if you can't find it from the book, you can find it on the internet, because these quizzes are open book. When we're going to be doing, another thing that you may look at, there are a number of acronyms. So you want to be able, even on a sheet, is to take the acronyms, because there's so many acronyms, and make the definition. I'll let you in class have a sheet of paper for the exam with just the acronyms. Like for instance, CPU stands for Central Processing Unit. You know how we're using a number of acronyms. You don't have to, HIPAA or whatever we're talking about. We don't need to waste our brains to figure out what those acronyms are. So as you're going through it, you smiling or what? Okay. Why? Or smiling? Good. I like to smile sometimes. It's nice. Okay. It's rather than crying. Okay. So in this case here is make yourself a list here of just the acronyms. So that way you'll have that with you. So the Tech Guide will do it on hardware. I'm going to make it, I'll give you here number of attempts, and it'll be the last graded attempt you have. And what else do I need to do then, Eden?
Probably go down and press submit.
Right, and then I need to press submit. Easy, right? And then what do you have to do? What's your role? You're the role of student right now, and you have to do what? Well, but before you even take the quizzes, we have to think about a process as what? You have to think that it's available. Is it available to you? Because sometimes I can click and it's not available. Is it available?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's all. So we have here Tech Guide 1, and just so you'll know in advance, I'm going to later on go to Tech Guide 2, which is software. We'll deal with security. We'll deal with data. And we'll work that out. Okay, so that's number 1. We also talked about, are there any questions about Chapter 1 that we need to deal with? So basically, Chapter 1 told us what? Is that if I looked at Chapter 1, it told us basically the basics of why I needed learn about information systems. It was trying to let me know about different roles in information systems and how is it going to basically help me make better decisions. And as I mentioned before, the first chapters are always kind of, let me name editing here. Why I should study, I'm not gonna, let me just, okay, these are IT jobs. And if I think about IT jobs, we talk about programmers, business analysts, systems analysts, designers, and we talk about chief information officer, CIO. What's a CIO?
Chief
Information officer, and what do they do, and who cares? Who's the chief information officer in the University of Miami? What are you looking at me for? Find it out. Who's the chief? What?
Steve Colley.
Steve Colley. So Steve Colley supposedly is the chief information. It says he's the chief information officer. And what do you think he's supposed to do?
He provides the leadership and vision for advancing all aspects of IT strategies across the medical, research, educational enterprises.
So say it out louder. It sounds good, doesn't it? So what do you think he's supposed to do?
Advance all,
Sam, in your own words, what do you think he's supposed to do?
develop like new ideas and strategies on how to more efficiently.
Okay, let's even think about this. What is this organization? It's a university. You know anything about a university? You go to it, right? Okay, what year are you saying?
Sophomore.
Sophomore. Okay, so you've been already 1 year here, and what's your major?
Finance.
Finance. So where do you use, as a student, where do you use information systems or anything that Colley should be concerned about? From the beginning, from the first day, you applied to this university, right? And then what happened? When you applied, how did you apply? Online. So probably you think he's involved with that online, basically, right, of how you apply. And once you apply, what happens? What did you do? Fill out what did you do when you applied?
An application.
You filled out an application, and then what happened?
I submitted it.
You submitted it, okay, good, and then what?
I received a decision.
You received just, that's it. Did you get any feedback that you submitted?
Oh, like I got confirmation.
You got confirmation. What, any other ideas on that process? What happens when you apply? What should they be doing is trying to engage people, right? Give them tours, right? Reach out to you, show, maybe have other students contact you, other professors contact you. Did they? Anyone? Yes? No? No. So maybe he's always in charge of that. What else? Zach, where else? After you applied and you got accepted, then what? How else were you in touch anyway digitally with the university?
Digitally, so they, actually, I honestly don't remember.
No, but you got here already, right? You told your parents, I'm going here, and did they say yes?
Yeah,
Okay, and you said with a smile, where are you from, Zach?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, and you say, just think about December, January, February, it'd be great there, right? There's South Beach. Did you think about that in your eyes,
Yeah.
right? Of course. Okay, so you said it's better than being in Jersey in February. Okay. And then what? So you got here, and then what?
After arriving on campus or something.
Well, they probably sent you something, right, when you have to arrive on campus?
I've got all the information about moving and orientation.
Right, moving, orientation. So is there housing?
Yes.
All of that, so that's another database. So if I think about, let's even think about something else. Who has your data in this institution? From where? Where's your data going to go? From applying to what? You told me acceptance. To what? I'm just even making some of them. To where? What's the next flow? To what? To housing. To where else? Registration. Did anybody want any money from you? To financial? What else? Orientation, and what did they have in orientation? Once you had an orientation, what kind of digital did you have? It's kind of like a housing and registration. And then what did you do? You applied to a school? Did everybody kind of like apply to a certain school? Anyone have a car on campus? And what, did you have to register your car? So parking? You have your IDs and stuff with student IDs. You ever show your student ID to get in the wellness center and get in other areas? So you think about the wellness center. And what, anybody keep track of your grades? John? The registrar? This kind of registration, right? Financial aid, bursar they call it. And who keeps your information? And the school has information. AJ, you work for the School of Business? And what kind of data they keep there? On students, what?
Phone number,
Yeah, basically all the data, right? So the school, right? So if we're in School of Business, SB, right, has it. Anybody in another school? No. What about departments? Anybody in finance? Right? Do they keep track? Do you have to have a certain average to get into finance?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have a certain, so they have to keep track of what? GPA? What else? I don't have any more boards right now. But are they keeping track? Are they keeping, when I log into Wi-Fi, you know, there's Kane's Guest, and then there's people who are asking me, Kane Secure? You get a username and a password on that? So going back to you, Sam, is that what? What would then Kali have just in the students have to be overseeing all that data, and how is that data going to be processed? Is that the only data that's in the university? What else? Only on students. Faculty. Also faculty is one, but also employees, and then employees we can break it down, right? Anybody a student employee? Anybody work on campus? Do you work? You work on campus?
Yeah.
Where do you work?
Football team.
Football team, okay. They keep, you get any, how do you get your hours? On Workday. Beautiful, Callum. There's something called Workday. What is Workday, Callum? Now that you're a user, you have any ways to define what Workday is? Look it up. Everybody sitting here, look up Workday. What do we got? You looking it up, Callum? Workday. He says, I put my hours in Workday, and then if I see here, what does it say Workday? Here is. Look at this. Is this an acronym? Did I say you have to know all these acronyms? Right, John? Here's one. It says Workday Cloud ERP System for Finance. What's HR? What's the abbreviation? What does that mean? Human Resources and Planning. That is a software program. And what do they mean cloud? Put that in your notes. What do they mean cloud?
Data you can access that's stored elsewhere.
That it's not on premises, because the university, if they bought, so did the university, what did the university do then? The university bought a software program called Workday. It's a cloud-based system, and that means what? That the university's IT department that Mr. Colley, right, that Steve Colley, he doesn't have to hire programmers per se to write a new software program. He procured it. He purchased it for the university. And in this case, look at this. If I look at this, it says Workday. Workday enabled us to support international growth. Guess who's a customer? So, anybody hear of that customer? Netflix, right? And notice that it's so specialized that what they say is, we will create a software program that will be cloud-based to an enterprise, Chad, and that enterprise can be higher ed, healthcare, hospitality, energy, computing. And why do they break them down like this? Caleb, why do you think they break it down?
Different industries that have different needs.
Different needs. As a university, what was the university have to do? Employees logging in, right? Class schedules, right? It's completely different than if I think about energy and resources or our financial services, a bank. So they say, hey, tell us your niche or your industry, and what are we? Higher ed. And then we don't have to, you can watch a quick video. We don't need a quick video, but have you heard of any of these schools? Right? A higher degree. And notice what I'm reading here. With Workday, your institution can adapt quickly to new learning and outcome models, engage students. What's the problem? How can you be, you're really a customer, right? Being a customer, what do you want? You're a customer all the time online. What do you want to be? You want to be engaged. This is what's difficult here, right? You got 40 people sitting here, and it's hard really to get engaged all the time, and that's why we're going to do a lot of exercises here. But basically, engage students, faculty, and staff with truly mobile communications. What does that mean? Leah, what does that mean, truly mobile communications?
Like communicating
Through what?
technology.
Through what? Mobile. Well, you have a mobile device, right? I don't want to sit there and go to a computer all the time saying I don't want to go to the computer lab, right? I want to be able to engage on this mobile and gain, this is so great. Highlight this in your notes. Gain greater insight into faculty and staff to optimize resources, improve accuracy and compliance for grants, budgets. Basically, not only gain greater insight into faculty, but gain greater insight to my students. I want to know what's the problem if you're not happy at the university, Sam, after the first semester? Do you have a choice? After the first year, you were here, the weather was nice, but it was a little hot in the summer. Did you expect it to be so humid? It's kind of humid down here, right? So what can you do? You can go somewhere else. You can drop out of college, right? You can. You've seen all those entrepreneurs. A lot of people we can kind of say, right? They started and now they're multi-millionaires. They seem to be quite happy without finishing. So how can I engage it? So this idea with these software basically also looks at my data and tries to get insights to my data. So Sam, going back to yours, that Collie, what he should be doing is not only allowing Caleb to post his hours. Do you post your hours via your cell phone, via your phone? How do you post your hours when you work at home?
I just do it on my computer.
You can do it on your computer, right? So he just basically logs in the hours, right? He doesn't have to sign something on paper and then have it being readjusted. Makes sense, right? And then how do you get paid?
They like approve the hours and they just put it, it's like direct deposit.
The direct deposit, so he doesn't need to see it, right? All that direct deposit is working. So these types of systems, then, what we're going to be looking at further is besides just doing my data processing, put this in your notes, besides doing data processing, I want to produce insights, something about the data that I didn't know about. Think about it as customer. Everybody's basically a customer. Our employees, in a way, do I want to keep them satisfied? Yes. Because if I'm not satisfied, I can go somewhere else and work as well. So I want to know when there's problems to be able to tell me, or I want to be able to see certain opinions. So for the applying, Sam, I want to maybe be able to say, what were the characteristics of the students that were most successful at the university? Or who got the best jobs? Or who left the university and became the best donors? What was it about them? And it may be that we can find out through the data, through collection of data, we can get some insights. So besides what they were trying to tell me in those PowerPoints, is they were trying to tell me about all these types of, I can be a database administrator knowing about the data, I can be a programmer, I can be what we call a designer, web designer, right, to be able to look at these. I can look at the data from beyond. Here it's going to tell me partners and services. You see this? They're going to do all these, learn more. They always have these smiling faces. They always try to make it, I guess, diversified. Let's do that. Let's have a female. Let's have a male. You know, right? Services, Workday services, learn more, deployment, education training, customer experience support. This is just one example of taking finance, HR, through the university. So that's what my CIO is also involved in. And does he have to worry about security, Sam? What campuses do I have at the University of Miami? Who can tell me? I have the Coral Gables campus, right? What other? Marine campus. And what else? The medical campus. Do they have different needs, you think? Completely different, and they have the same, right? And the medical campus, basically, we're talking about also a hospital. We're also talking about patients. We're also talking about physicians that have to see my patients. I'm talking about medical students. I'm talking about different departments that get grants. The Center for Paralysis. Anybody see that? We have a Center for Paralysis that basically are helping people that are paraplegics to walk again. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I saw one of the things where they have it where somebody got crushed. He was a gymnast here in Miami. He was doing one of those flips and then he fell right here, paralyzed like that. They had a way at the university, if we freeze them, you know, lower their temperature, body temperature, in a day he was able to walk. Wow. Okay, and I met his father, you know what I mean? And he was just, can you imagine, if you do it in a short enough time, the breakthroughs that you can have with that technology to be able to do it. Then they also have what? Does the university have to advertise itself? Yes, does it try? They have a communications department. So anything on that is trying to engage you. Have you tried to see when they're trying to engage you in different types of activities to keep you basically learning more, being challenged, and also enjoying yourselves. So that a kind of way to do it. And we can do it, Sam, via that data. So he has to be that chief, if he wants to be a chief information officer, besides just even keeping track of this, my contention is he has to go beyond that and try to think about the students, the faculty, and employees as customers, and how can they, what? Be more satisfied, plus doing something, and put this in your notes here, the idea of compliance. What's compliance? Dan, what's compliance? Let's look it up. What are we talking about in information systems compliance? Do even compliance in education. What do we get? We're working together as a team. What do we got? Compliance. Cody, did we get something?
No, just still searching.
Okay. What do we got? Who can tell me? Okay, Greta. You can pull that hand up, you know? You gotta learn how to be. aggressive. Let me just make an aside note here. They had a way in which women and men in conversation is women always say they need to be able to know it 110%, right? They're a little shy. And men 50%, they say, oh, I know it already, I can do it. So in terms of even promotions, you say, what percentage of women are now CEOs of Fortune 500 companies? What do you think, Greta? What percent? 30%. Any other ideas? We could even percent women as CEOs, Fortune 500 percent. What do we get? 4.8%. Did you hear that? And the last CEO of Pepsi, you know who that was? A woman, and she just retired. And who did they have replace her? What do you think, Greta? Another woman? A guy, another guy. So one of the things that I'm going to encourage here is for when you're going to raise your hand, raise it up. You can just do just as well as the guys do. So what did you want to say in terms of compliance? What did you find out?
Okay, so I found it says corporate compliance program, which is a formal system to help your organization maintain compliance in all areas of operation. So it says it's focused on upholding policies to prevent organization and employees from breaking laws and regulations.
So what kind of compliance do I have here at the university? Data compliance. And they give your, what do we have to identify you? Sam, what's the key element to identify you here at the university? Huh? Your username, what else? Student ID, C number. Anybody hear about a C number before? Why do they use a C number? Why don't they use Social Security number? Privacy. There's something called FERPA. There's a privacy family. There's education ways to do that. Privacy Acts. There's HIPAA. There's health concerns when you go to the health center. Anybody ever go to the health center here on campus? That's supposed to be private. Anybody ever use the pharmacy? That's supposed to be private. They're not supposed to be selling that information. That's another words here, but so you have to, so what is, are we dealing about any money? Have you ever used your credit card on campus? Who's used a credit card here on campus, right? Is there any information on your credit card, right? Your credit card number. So one of the things in terms of credit card is they have to then have credit card compliance. And if I go to Google and I just say do credit card compliance, there's something called, and you can put this in your notes here, PCI. Put this in your notes here, PCI. Anybody hear of PCI? That's great. What did you hear, Zach? You heard about it?
So last year I worked in the Collinston campus. And so one of the big things that we said was that we were a PCI compliant facility to let them know that the credit card doesn't leave our hands and stays only on that screen.
Have you ever gone, the idea when you go, one of the biggest credit card waste scam is Madam's at a bar, right? And then she gives her credit card. And have you ever seen like the waiter? He'll go off on his own, take your credit card, and then basically what they have is they have just another scanner there that's scanning your card, and then he brings it back. So a lot of times even, have you seen now like restaurants and so forth, your credit card doesn't leave the table, right? That's one of the reasons for PCI. So who controls that? Is the credit card company. When somebody steals your credit card, who's ever had their credit card lost, right? Lost, stolen, or whatever? Or somebody else did what? Basically charged on it, got your credit card number. Anybody have that? One time I got something where I looked at my credit card bill and it said, I think 1,000 RU. Anybody know what an RU is?
Rubles.
Rubles. And then I said, hey, I haven't been to Russia lately. You know what I mean? And I saw those rubles, right? And the credit card company, I'm surprised it let it go through because they should know my pattern that I haven't been to Russia, right? That I did. So basically, that PCI, who then has to pay? Since it was put on my credit card, did I have to pay? No. So who has to pay is the bank. So they're going to be very strict in terms of compliance. So there's something called PCI. You can put that in it for the payment card industry, saying that if you take credit cards, we have to make sure that you're compliant. We have to make sure you're compliant on the way you handle the data. If you put in credit cards, have you ever seen when you put in credit card numbers that I have to see that it says in the very top, you see right here in my browser, what does it say? Secure. And what is this? HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. What's the S mean? Secure. Now we can go past it. It means that still people can not be completely in sync. But if I'm on a browser and it doesn't have an S, I know for sure I don't want to put my credit card information in. So, like you said before, Zach, is that basically they have to say that we are going to have to pass some tests, and then some agency has to confirm and sign off that yes, you hold the data properly. Because the credit card companies or the banks don't want to give it to some institutions that flagrantly don't take care of the data. And then they get stuck having to pay. Because the consumer, guess what, doesn't pay. They handle those risks. And then later on we'll talk about artificial intelligence in the ways that what they're going to be able to do is I can give, listen to this, do the credit card companies know which transactions were fraudulent after they happened? Yes. Do they know which transactions were not fraudulent before they happened? Yes. So what they have is what they call, and we'll learn it in the future, something what they call neural networks. It's part of artificial intelligence. And it's part of what we call machine learning. And we'll go into this more in the class. We'll actually have exercises. And what I want to do is I'm going to train the machine to sniff out fraudulent transactions. You ever seen those dogs, how they train the dogs for bomb detection, or they train the dogs to find, when a live body or a dead body, or they'll find it for some kind of, they'll trace of elements or something that you have. The computer can do the same thing for transactions. I train it to say, these are applications for it. So if somebody actually physically steals a credit card or gets a credit card number and has a credit card, where do they first usually go? If they want to not do it online, they want to go physically to a physical location with a credit card. Where do they first go? Everybody understand my question?
ATM.
ATM, I wouldn't go to an ATM. Why wouldn't I go to an ATM? Is there a camera there? Yeah, right? Have you ever seen those of Most Wanted or something, right? It's always a camera there, right? And you say, can you recognize them? Putting the ATM. So that's, Madeline, me and you wouldn't be good crooks, okay? So that's not the first one. Madeline would be arrested, after, before the end of the day. We catch Madeline. Where do they go? Who's more clever? Yes. Evan, where'd they go?
Well, just based off experience, the gas station.
Gas station. Very good, Evan. the gas station. Why the gas station, Evan?
I don't know.
Okay, think. Don't just say I don't know. In this class, it's not I don't know. Right? We got to think. We got to think intelligent. We may not be able. We'll figure it out together. Why the gas station, Claudine?
Maybe it's not regulated, like there's no person you have to pay.
First of all, when you go to the gas station, you got a guy filling up. Can I do it myself? Yeah, I'm doing myself. What else? So I put in the card, and what else do I have with me? So I put in the card. I can put in a little gas. When I go, I can even do like $1.
I mean, you need to know the zip code or the.
Yeah, but maybe I can figure that out, right? Sometimes I can even get that information. We'll go to websites where you can get credit card information plus the zip code. Remember that little 3-digit code in the back of your credit card? They got that too. They have in some of those, all what's from your mother's maiden name, all those secret kind of things. They got those too in databases. I tell you, we won't be able to sleep at night. Okay, after I show you this stuff. But what is the idea? They go to the gas station, they put it in, if it works, and we can guess Jackie, they even had in the database, they had that it was 124 or something, or 146 or something. I got that, and what else? Can I get away quickly? I got a car. So I can speed up, I'm right on the road and I can go. And I can do a small amount. Right, just to see, what do I want to see, Evan, is I want to see, does it work? Have they shut it off right away? So now you have seen now credit banks are saying, if I don't know exactly where my card is, I can shut it off right away. They're not also giving you a service because they like you so much. They're giving it to protect themselves, right? Before. Okay? So this is the whole area. So you see here what they're going to do then. I know the transactions, which are good transactions. I know the faulty transactions. There's certain characteristics. I'll train the machine, and then I'll give it some new transactions that I know what the answer is and see how accurate they are. And then when it's not, anybody have dogs here? Train dogs? It's kind of like training your dogs in little steps here. And then I start with the computer training it to get more and more accurate. I can do that with fraudulent activities, and I can do it, with health activities as well. Everybody with me? Okay? So that's basically what the first chapter is about. Is basically, how do I get using information to gain more insights about my customers, about my employees, about my product. What do my customers don't like about my product, like about my, that's a whole area of marketing, right? And what's nice is in digitally, I can do that. I can go to the website, and if you don't order, I can try to figure out why didn't you order, or you put something in your wish list. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, I want to go back to Blackboard. Right? And let's go to the audit area. Where's the roll? Whenever it's finished, okay, Cody, bring it up. Thank you. We're kind of like learning the ropes, right? Thank you so much. Thank you. Additional paper, we got this. Okay, so where am I going to go? BTE audit, right? And I looked at it earlier, and some of you have done a great job, so maybe it's all filled up now, but the beauty is this. Agile development. And what do I ask you then, Madeline, to do? Everybody's sitting here, you can sleep so easily. Sleep afterwards, you know what I mean? What do we got?
Agile development is an umbrella term for several iterative and incremental software development methodologies.
What does this word mean? Who can tell me? Iterative. Aaron, what do you think? Did you look up agile development? Madeline.
Like a repeating process.
A repeating process, and we go process. What they've now done in any type of development in software or in working together in groups is what they call agile development. What does agile mean? The word agile. Have you heard the word agile, Matt?
Yeah, isn't like
Quick, basically you move quickly. And think about this, our economy, and basically think about the digital world. Do you have to move quickly? Right. If you're not moving quickly, you're swept beside. You know, the competitor is always at your back, right? And the excitement is that you can move quickly, and that's why these startups and these small companies can even beat these large multi-billion-dollar companies. And you say, how can you do it? There's 3 people, and they're beating these people because they can move quickly. So agile development means that we're going to do something, a small task, we'll meet together, see what the issues were, and then move on and correct it. And we keep on doing, we have a small task, we do that task, and then we go to see how we did on that task, what are the problems of that task, and then we'll go on to the next part of the task in order to solve an entire solution. So that's how we're working in this class. I give you an assignment, we'll look at it, and guess what? You probably want, for most, 100%, it won't be 100% perfect. But then we'll go back and do what, Shannon? We'll go ahead and modify and improve it. So just like I'm going to the groups right here, and I'm just going to do a couple of these here, where I have Shauna here, and I have screencasting, and this is what I want from everybody. So put this in your notes here. Go back in your group and make sure that you have a folder. After you have the folder, then you have a screencasting folder. And then under the screencasting folder, what I want you to do is this. Put this in your notes here, is I want the person that did that screencasting program to have their name there. So you'll go back. So for instance, later on, some of you, I went through it, for instance, Jackie says, this is Jackie, Kleinbaum and so forth, that went through it. But what I want you to do is outside that I don't have to go through each one, right, and do it. So what you should have then, under your file then, you should have your name, and then part of your file and your name then, I use Snagit to screencast. At this point, what I want you to do is put the pros and the cons here. Just short little bullet points. Why? So everyone in the class can collaborate and see what are the pros and the cons. And then I also want you to put what I call the OS. The OS stands for what? The operating system. And then I want you to be able to say, does it upload to programs like YouTube? So everybody understand what I want that's for Wednesday. So for Wednesday, what I want you to do is go in and edit this part for each of those. And then for next Wednesday, what I want you to do is, we'll talk about it more on Wednesday, is review what I call collaborative programs, where you can speak together as a group, share your screens as a group, and then the possibility also to broadcast it. But we'll talk about it next time. But go through, so for Wednesday, I know everybody's topic is complete. Right? And we can move on. Okay? Very nice. Thank you very much. Stay waiting for you if you have questions. Otherwise, oh, the other thing, let me just do one more thing, folks, before you leave. I know some of you have another class, but let me just make sure here. If I go down to the groups here, you can change it before. Okay, we got everything. Okay, perfect.